So we will talk about how successfully or to successfully leverage financial data with a fully integrated solution. We already touched upon this point, so an SAP is clearly a fully integrated solution. But not only that, so I would like also to talk about different things, if I may, Arif, and to have also the vision from the integrator. So talk about the public and private cloud. So maybe demystify what SAP is very often perceived as a very tough, expensive solution to implement. So, and is it possible to become an SAP Treasury, let's say, customer without being necessarily on SAP as an ERP? And to talk about also Joule, because we were talking about case studies and use case and a clear example of what we can do and what a virtual treasury assistant like Joule, your assistant, could do. So it would be interesting to see and to hear from you what are the development and what is the vision of SAP, because you are clearly the largest tech company in Europe. So it will be interesting to have your view. And also, Michael, because you are an integrator and you will talk about that. So it's also quite important because on the ground, Michael is implementing your solution. So it's good to see and to get the feedback from Michael. So maybe a first question to you, Michael. So could you introduce briefly yourself and INTENSUM for those who do not know yet INTENSUM?
Yeah, thank you, François. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Diet from INTENSUM. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm happy to be here with Arif from SAP. So for the one who doesn't know INTENSUM yet, let me briefly introduce our company. So INTENSUM is an independent and specialized advisory firm, and we are also SAP partner. We are not software provider. We are doing the most difficult part of the job, implementing the solution provided by SAP. We are based in Luxembourg and in Belgium, from where we are operating across Europe and even further. We are existing since 2005, 20 years now, and we are focusing on mainly optimization and transformation of finance and treasury processes, trying to improve analytics with the use of innovative technologies such as S/4HANA and the new technology provided and innovation provided by SAP.
Maybe I've just short introduction, your role at SAP, and maybe starting with a few slides just to introduce the topic.
First of all, thank you very much. I'm the first time here, and thank you very much again, because I'm hearing all the time TMS, and nobody was talking about ERP, but I hear from time to time ERP. And when Michael asked me why we should not have a joint session together, I say, why not? Because at the end of the day, as you say, François, the SAP is the biggest ERP provider. And then if you follow the stock market, and then beginning of this year and now, you see how much is the fluctuation in the market, and then that's exactly the business what we're doing here as a treasurer. So, and that is about SAP. It's about SAP as a platform, and we'll talk about that later on. But my role within SAP, I'm leading globally the treasury and working capital. And my background is not treasury. My background is medical physics. I've been hunting again behind cancer, and then correlation, simulation, Monte Carlo, machine learning has been in my agenda since 20 years. But so nothing new, and I agree with Viola from ION. She's saying machine learning is there since many years. But the beauty is now we have business application. And that is SAP about. ERP is business application and how we bring that together. So thank you again for the invite. Yeah.
You're more than welcome. Pleased to have you here on board. So maybe you should start, and I know that you have a few slides just to introduce the key topics we are working on at the moment.
Yeah, perfect. Maybe let's start to go one step back, because everyone talking about TMS and SAP is a cloud ERP, is an ERP provider. What does it mean? We do have now with cloud ERP, be private cloud, public cloud, a kind of solution which could help either small, mid, or large business. The cloud ERP is really as a tailored the need to meet the challenges what you meet. But in order to do that, you have to have really a clean core. And before we're talking about digital core, but digital core can be only good for you if you have a clean extension. You have to avoid extension. You have to avoid modification. That's why we have the business technology platform, which could help you to do extension for the same, to seamless integration to your partner. We're talking about TrustBase as our partner for fraud prevention. But all this stuff, you have to do it in one single platform. That is the business technology platform. On top of that, if you collect all this information from all this application, you can build a nice Joule cases. And Joule is our co-pilot. So we have close collaboration with Microsoft. And only if you have a data, and that is exactly the business data cloud. Business data cloud is nothing else and has been discussed many, many times, data, data, data. But if you have really semantic, meaningful data, you can apply the agent on top of that. Without semantic, meaningful data, I think you will get, if you put rubbish in, you will get rubbish out. And that is completely the way we do. But let's talk about treasury. What does it mean? For us, it's, if you think about treasury, it's not isolated. It's not only the treasurer is doing something alone, but rather than had collaboration between the two major components, invoice to pay and invoice to cash. And then in the middle, we name it cash events. Cash events mean if you manage your payment, you manage your cash, you can manage your risk, and we added dimension of working capital. Because in the end of the day, if you have inventory financing, and that's big impact on the treasury, because everyone talked about not just in time nowadays, just in case. Because everyone talked about an elastic supply chain, mean you have to manage your inventory in a way which impact your cash forecasting. And then has been discussion cash forecasting here and there, but you have to have really integration between these two major processes and in order to have the right information. The big picture on Cloud ERP, as you know, we have cash, payment, and risk and working capital, and then surrounding by business technology platform, which could help you to connect to the ecosystem. And that's, for me, is really important. Ecosystem important because SAP will not deliver everything alone. We have 20,000 partners, can be implementation partner, can be a solution extension partner, can be fintech partner, can be banks partner. I was listening to JP Morgan today in the morning, Jeremy. Yes, we have close collaboration. We started to think about how we can infuse the blockchain of JP Morgan to send a payment, how we can infuse the Rebel platform to send a payment. That is the surrounding so-called business technology platform. But if it's come now to the AI, and then the focus of today, I love to shed some light here what we're doing in the area of AI, tangible application, really, on AI. I believe AI will reinvent the business application. What does it mean? There is no application without to have an AI, at least infuse it, enhance, optimize. I'm not believe that we are there. I think we built the runway, and we have to start to fly. But you have to define your destination, which distance you would like to do. And let me guide you through what does it mean for treasury. And if we think about treasury and then about all the things what we discussed today in the morning, we're talking about application, data, and AI. But only if you have really close loop between three of them, so-called flying wheel, you will get the benefit from all. You should not consider the data as isolated. You should not consider the application would produce the data as isolated, which at the end of the day, you have to manage the interaction between AI, data, and application. And that is exactly the approach what SAP launched beginning of this year. And then for treasury mean, we started simple. We have a process, we have supply chain, we have sales, we have a lot of data, we collect all this data, we manage receivable, we manage payment, we manage cash, we manage risk, and at the end of the day, you would like to decide what should I do with surplus? Should I go for supply chain finance? Should I go for dynamic discounting with Taulia? Or should I go with another instrument? Should I go with a funder? Because we have a lot of funder of Taulia, which could help us, JP Morgan, Citi, and so on. Or you can use your own money, of course. You can use your own money, dynamic discounting. But you can do only that if you have really a semantic, meaningful data. We have the second layer, so-called business data cloud. An example for us will be the working capital dashboard. Working capital dashboard is the aggregation of data from receivable, payable, and inventory. and then the end of the chain will identify and determine your cash conversion cycle. And then, if you have the cash conversion cycle, you started to communicate with the AI cases, and that's exactly what we do here. We build up a kind of co-pilot. So our co-pilot name is Joule. The Joule is the digital assistant for us, for the treasurer, and we started to raise and release some agents. So we're talking about machine learning, deep learning, and the next one will be agentic, and that is the cases we'll release. We release the case for cash manager. We have the case for a payment manager, and we have the case for dispute manager. Imagine if you have a dispute, you're not receiving the money in time, you started to analyze what's going on, you receive, you run the dunning, and so on and so on. Imagine if you have an agent which could help you to extract all this data, make proposal, either create dispute or create alternative way to communicate to the customer. And the second one, AI-based assistant, being we do have application, you run the payment run, you have exception, and you would like to understand what is the exception. Why should I spend time on that? Why should not agent do that? And the ultimate goal, the cash manager, and that is exactly what I would like to highlight it here. Here's our launchpad. You see the launchpad where you see all of the information. In the morning, you have alert, or you have your digital assistant. That is my digital assistant. That is the Joule. And imagine now, Joule started the day, or the agent. I have agent just started in the day and asking, okay, show me the cash position of the Deutsche Bank, and give me all the bank accounts of the Deutsche Bank, everything what is listed in my responsibility, of course. Start analyzing, prepare the data. There is no transaction, but rather than one single prompt. Second one, I will ask is that give me the negative balances of certain bank account. Because I would like to understand, before I do cash positioning, where I am surplus, where I am deficit. And then the second one, we see, perform my cash positioning, mean do cash pooling, cash concentration, and the same. And this is the prompt engine behind the scenes. So the prompt engine mean I execute one by one at the end of the chain, because the human should stay in the loop. This is the most important one. Human in the loop mean the user, as a cash manager, should analyze the results. Okay, here, this is my results. I have bank surplus, bank minus, and then the system suggests me something. Okay, I do have surplus and minus. Already created a template to do bank transfer, as example. And the only thing what I have to do, I have to execute one task, because I am the user. Really, I am the cash manager. I do execute now. I select the one which is the bank with surplus. I select the one which is minus, and I do cash pooling, or I do funding in order to offsetting the deficit. Because it might be I am heading out cut off time, and then I have to be in a hurry. But at the end of the chain, it's really important that someone, human and user, should approve. Because keep a human in the loop mean do not let everything to the AI just to decide what is the action. So data-driven decision mean the user should be. And here, how the list, I execute that. I select the 2 bank account and say, okay, execute. The only thing what I have to do, the agent suggests, okay, are you fine? And I will send approve and create. So behind the scene now, this is the business application started. For some of you who know cash management, that is exactly the approval agent. So the approval agent will send, the cash agent will send the approval agent, and then approval agent will exactly execute this task and ask the responsible one just to approve this one. It's simple. So it's really a kind of template-based approach, creating all the data as needed, no interaction. The only interaction which I have to do is to approve the payment here. So really a nice example. I'm not saying we are at the end, we are just in the beginning, and that's why it's just a sneak preview for you here, guys. Yeah.
I guess you have several
cases, yeah.
Yeah, and agents, so already there. So maybe a first question, so looking at how do you see AI automation and cloud integration evolving together to further transform the treasury management as we described this afternoon?
I think the most important one, I believe AI and cloud should go hand in hand together.
Okay.
There is no other way then. So you have to make your mind, if you are on-premise, there is no benefit from AI. Because you have to go, because cloud means scalable, flexible, agility. And I do believe AI in the cloud, if you put this together, that's will profound transform the business, the treasury business. That's the first one. The second, I believe the AI will move the treasury operation from reactive, we are more reactive, really, toward proactive. You know, give me the agility, give me the real-time insight, give me the dynamic assessment to enable me just to get the information what I'm looking for, real-time and fingerprint. An example, forecasting, example, fraud prevention, reconciliation, all the cases has been mentioned before, but only if you have AI, cloud, and automation. And that's, I believe, that's the conversions which could elevate the role of treasurer to bring that to the next level as be strategic
to be
partner.
more efficient and to be decision-making, or to provide information to take the right decision.
Exactly. Data-driven decision mean you have to have a profound data in order really to make a decision, because otherwise, if you have a distributed system, if you have an unharmonized data, if you have unclassified data, then you will not make the right decision, because something visible is missing for you.
Michael, for you also, on the integrator point of view, do you see corporate ready to actively use the AI in their treasury management processes?
Yes, fine. Today, I would say our activities is more on digital transformation, because we still see that many groups are far from being ready for full digital move and hyper automation. Okay, more and more corporates are launching or have already launched digital transformation projects. Of course, all new innovation and technology that we saw today can create great opportunities to achieve your digital transformation. However, we still see that corporate treasurers are looking, they are brainstorming about to select, to discuss what are the use cases that could bring value for them. And this is still in discussion. So I would say if we talk about the use of AI, virtual assistant, as SAP is releasing now, I would say our recommendation is first to set the solid foundation in your landscape, revamping your landscape, moving to the cloud, having the good foundation and the solid foundation, choosing the right tool to adapt it to your organization and your activities, which will provide you the adequate playground to go to the next step and to start implementing AI use case. Of course, all what we discussed today, most of the clients are saying, yeah, I want to have a more accurate, predictive, and automate cash flow forecasting. Can we do it with AI? We are talking about data. We need to have clean data. I have customers asking me, they are running multiple ERP systems, different processes, and they say, okay, could we dump all unharmonized data into a kind of data lake, and can AI harmonize the data for me in order to do a better cash flow forecasting? Yes, say yes. It will not be so easy to do. Voilà. So this is a bit what we see on the market. We are still on moving, transforming, preparing the system landscape of some corporates to a full digital move in order to go to the next step.
We come to the point we already discussed, so the fact that we have different instances of SAP or maybe different versions, so it's quite difficult, because of course I guess the move to SAP S/4HANA, it's a major and significant shift, and so and it's very difficult in our let's say company life, because we acquire, we dispose assets, so our scope is changing at any moment in time. So it's quite tricky for us to be always ready. And I know that you work for customers for years, because the scope is changing and evolving.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. And maybe a last question for you, Arif. So what could we expect next from SAP in terms of IT tools? What will be the next future and AI? Okay, to continue developing Joule and the let's say agents, but what are on you, let's say, roadmap in the couple of next years?
Let me. I think as we discussed many times as well in the morning, I think we built up first. Now we have the runway. So we started with AI foundation. We have the runway to take off. And then I do believe you have to define the distance. You should not start to fly far away. You have to find the distance to reach. Mean you have to convince your team in order to see that is the efficiency gain out of the AI. In order to do that, we started to release a Joule for consulting, a Joule for developer, and Joule for partner. Mean SAP will have the AI foundation, and we leave it to those guys who they are the X because they speak the language of the treasurer. They understand what they need. That's the one thing. And then if you have this one, you can decide if you would like to have overseas flight because your destination will be longer because you have the help of partner, help of consulting, you have help of customer, developer, and your organization. And big client, they have really more developer than SAP if it's come to AI and the data scientists. That's the one aspect. The second aspect, I do believe, the tool what we will give is the combination of external internal data and the collaboration between SAP and Databricks and Snowflakes. That's huge. That's a huge momentum for all your guys. That's to combine structured and unstructured SAP and non-SAP data in one single semantic layer which could be used in order to feed the AI. Last but not least, and most important for me, is the strategic collaboration between SAP and Microsoft. SAP and Microsoft, we're talking about collaboration between Joule and Copilot. Joule and Copilot mean you send out of the business application a notification to your team, in team, not in email or something. Team, collaboration. And that's strategic. That's the three major innovation will come. The extension AI foundation beyond Joule for SAP rather than Joule for consulting partner and customer. Extension, the data provisioning classification beyond SAP to go for Databricks and Snowflakes. And strongest, the partnership with Microsoft because our team is everywhere and Copilot is everywhere.
You are partners, despite you are also competitors with Dynamics. Okay, maybe just a very short final comment from your side. So what are the benefits of, and it was from the early days that SAP completely outsourced the integration. What is the benefit, if you want to explain to a corporate treasurers, of being completely outsourced that instead of insourcing the integration?
I think when the question was, should I go for BALM or a solution, or should I go for the integrated solution? I think if you have integrated solution, obviously you have friction-free. So there is no need to replicate data between two different applications. That's the one. The second, I do believe if you have less replication, you have visibility and insight because everything you have in hand. That's the second. The third one, I believe, if you have the insight and you have the visibility, you have efficiency and automation in place because you have everything already. So you have the data. A lot but not least, everyone talking about security and compliance. Everyone is aware about if you have a lot of interfaces, a lot of integration points, you open the window for the fraud. And we're listening. We have internal, we have external, we have SIMI, you have watch list screening, you have a blacklist screening, you have business integrity screening, you have verification of PE, you have verification of account. Imagine if you have a lot of interfaces, you lose the single source of truth. A lot but not least, they cost. So imagine if we have a public cloud and you pay as you go. Everyone pay exactly what consume. And you can predict your budget already. I can say, okay, I will increase the number of payments, so I will manage next year, I will allocate the budget to pay the software fees. So predictability of the cost, compliance, visibility, seamless, friction-free integration, that's the
and
benefit.
expertise because you are only dedicated to one solution.
Exactly. That's we are not best of breed, but rather than suite first, AI first, only if you have these two layers together, you will be on the good position. But I'm not TMS spender. I'm not saying they are not good. They are good, but we have to serve the purpose of different clients, small, medium, and large. But point of time, everyone talking about integration. The less interfaces, the less
already,
secure.
let's say, adopted your method, so I guess it should be a good one. It's a trend on the market. So, and I like the idea of being hyper-specialized with one single tool.
If I maybe can add something about what Arif said about the advantage of integration. Like beside the fact that data and to combine finance and treasury data in one harmonized tool, which will facilitate analytics and reporting, one important aspect as well is full traceability end-to-end processes. Because from, if you take an example for payment, from invoice booking processing until the reception of the PSR in one tool. And you can monitor the end-to-end process in only one tool with one visibility. The second thing is that in terms, I think with the business technology platform, there is a superior integration capabilities provided by SAP, internally but as well externally. And we see that SAP has also a strategy, API-first strategy, to exchange information between different components of the suite, but as well against the external world. We are talking about all services that could be connected with the business technology platform. And the last point, that because I would say the image of SAP that is heavy to implement, costly, and so on. So now you can run, and I see that it's surprisingly some corporates are still operating their treasury with Excel spreadsheet and combining balance to have a cash position by extracting data from different web banking. Now SAP has a solution to run a treasury workstation in the public cloud, who meet the urgent need of a treasurer with a scalable solution, and the implementation can be very fast, very quick, and the solution is scalable, so meaning that you can add building blocks and functionality based on your future needs. This could be interesting for Luxembourgish market and for SME.
No, and we already mentioned that one of our members, at least, as far as I know, have implemented the public cloud solution. So it's certainly an opportunity for our members to discuss with them to see how easy it was to implement. So thanks a lot for this very interesting comment and to give us a vision of what we could expect from SAP in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you.